Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Marieanne the Artsie Crafter, and this morning I've had the best fun I've ever had in this craft room since the last time I had the best fun in my craft room. Just my little inside joke. Today I've got a beautiful pile of leaves here and some sticks and whatnot, and all I did was I went out this morning. We've had a lot of rain here on and off. We're always having rain here on and off, but anyway, we've had a lot of rain recently, and it's autumn. Well, now it's winter here now. So I went out and I gathered up a whole bunch of wet, sticky, dirty leaves. Some are still green, and some are, as you can see, they're very much decayed. And these are the ones I love the best. So I made sure I got some. This one here, it's barely recognizable as a leaf. So anyway, I went and got the grungiest leaves I could possibly find in my pathway, because we've got huge trees around here, so we get lots of different leaves, and we get some, maple leaves, pine leaves, and we get gum leaves. Got a big gum leaf here. So with all kinds of trees here, and I just can't think of what any of the other ones are off the top of my head. Anyway, I was playing with some papers recently and with chalks and whatnot, and I thought I got some that looked a little bit like eco dyeing, and then this morning I woke up and I thought, oh, I'd like to explore that a little bit further. There must be maybe I could do something with that. So I didn't necessarily use chalks. I did use some chalks, but I just got some wet leaves to start with, and then I sat down and I had all these papers here, and I decided to play with the papers and see what I came up with. And I basically just used some inks. I did use coffee dye, and I had a water bottle there. They were my main tools there, and sometimes I used a paintbrush, just a flat paintbrush, and I did use some chalks, and I used some gold paint. I had all these funds that I played with, and my chalks, which I don't know what I've done with them. I think I've been a good girl and I put everything away. Oh, here they are. I did use some chalks, and I also used inks, a few inks, mainly green and brown and black, I think. Anyway, you'll know better than me when you go and see this video, because I haven't edited it yet. So that's ahead. So if you want to see how to do this, it was quick and easy, very little mess at all, and I didn't have to move from my chair. I could do it in the comfort of my chair in front of my desk, and there's no big messy cleanup. You don't have to have a big work surface. You don't have to have any fancy equipment. You don't have to boil any leaves or papers, I should say. You don't have to wrap them up and boil them, and all that time-consuming effort you have to put into doing the traditional eco dyeing or eco printing, whatever you want to call it, of papers. And I got some great results. Well, I think they're great results, and I'd like to share them with you later on. But first of all, you've got to go and see how I did this. And so sit back and enjoy the next few moments while I show you how to do some fake eco dyeing on different types of paper, copy paper, brown paper, all kinds. So book pages. So sit back and enjoy that. And at the end, I'll come back and I'll reveal all the papers and explain some of them now that they're dry. So first of all, you've got to go and check out the video, and I'll let you go now, and I'll see you soon. This is a sample piece of what I'll be making today, one of the pages. For this first sheet, I'm just using some regular weight copy paper, and I will spray some water over it to wet the surface. Then I'll spray on a layer of coffee dye. just to give some coloration to the page. And now I will spread my wet gooey leaves over the page. Besides the leaves, I'll also add some other stuff like some bark, some twigs, some bits of grass, all those kinds of things. Once I'm happy with the design, I will then go ahead and spray on some uh, inks, liquid inks, mainly in the yellows and greens and aqua colors. And then I'll place a sheet of plastic on top and use a rolling pin to roll out, to press the leaves into the paper to transfer the design. I'll continue using the rolling pin until I'm happy that the design has transferred onto the paper. This takes usually anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. After removing the leaves with a pair of tweezers, I just have to dry the page and it's all done, ready to be used. For my next sheet, I'm going to use another page of copy paper and follow the same procedure by spraying it with water first and then some coffee dye. And this time I'm going to add some chalks to the page to just create some more color to the background. I spray on a little bit more of the coffee dye and then I apply my leaves to the page as I did before. I'll spray on the same ink colors as I did the first time, but this time I'll do something a little bit different by adding a clean sheet of coffee paper on top. First of all, I'll spray it with some water and then some coffee dye and place it over the top of the leaves before I put the plastic down and use my rolling pin to press it out and transfer the images to the paper. And this way I hope to get 2 pages out of it for the same effort. After I dry the bottom page, this is what it looks like. I won't show you the top page till later on when I reveal all the pages all at once. So far I'm very impressed with the way the pages are turning out using this method. This time I'm just using some cheap craft paper and applying the water and coffee dye and then some chalks. I'm going to add more chalk colors to the page and use some coffee dye and a paintbrush just to blend those colors in a little bit more. For now I'm using the same leaves because I like the way they look on the page, but they're starting to dry out, so I spray some water on and then I spray a little bit of coffee dye on before I place them down onto the page. Once again I'm adding a second sheet to the top before I place the plastic on top and use the rolling pin to transfer the images to the papers. This time I'm applying some black ink over the page and spraying on some coffee dye and doing some splattering just to grunge up the page a little bit more. I'm using some fresh leaves this time, and once again I'm spraying them with water just to hydrate them, and then I'm going to spray on some coffee dye. This time I'm using a sheet of that thin non-grease baking paper, and I'm also applying some coloured chalks onto the leaves after I've placed them down onto the baking paper, and then I'll place another sheet of the baking paper on top before I use the rolling pin to press the leaves onto the papers. This time I'm using some pages from a book page, and the top sheet will be a piece that I cut out from a brown paper bag. With the leaves this time, I'm spraying them with some coffee dye and also some of the ink colours. I'm also spraying some coffee dye and the yellow ink spray onto the background pages before I add the leaves. I wasn't happy with the way the book pages turned out, so I decided to try again. This time I add some ink sprays to the leaves themselves. Then when I put them on the page, I drip the excess ink sprays onto the page. These pages didn't turn out any better than the last book pages, but the top pages turned out quite well, but I'll show you them later on. I wasn't giving up on these book pages just yet. I was determined to make them work out. So this time I tried to add some acrylic paint mixed in with some water, and I painted them straight onto the leaves after I sprayed the pages with coffee dye. Unfortunately, for a third time, the book pages turned out to be a fail. So maybe there's something in the paper that just won't allow this method to work. In this next experiment, I decided to use some chalk to color the leaves, and before I applied them to the page, I used a sheet of brown paper for the top sheet, and unfortunately the leaves didn't transfer to the sheet very well, maybe because I didn't put any color on the back of the leaves, who knows. I'll show you the results of how the rest of the pages turn out at the end of this video, so make sure you watch to the end. Okay, I can show you the results now of these papers, and I haven't, apart from the initial drying them off and everything, I haven't even seen them yet. So, and I haven't seen the videos, so I've got them in order. So I hope I can remember what I did each step. I didn't take too many steps this time, not like the last lot of papers that I was making in the last couple of videos, I think, or yes, the last couple of videos. Anyway, as you saw, the first ones I did, this one was just basically coffee dye, and so it's very faint, but you do get some nice impressions. And using the roller, you get some nice grungy paper, and you get double-sided as well, which I really like. You can see the leaves on the other side. So these ones I just did with single sheets, and this one here is where I added some spray, the spray inks. You can see this is from that piece of stick or whatever it is, some sort of fiber type thing. And some of these leaves turned out really lovely. So I love the edge of this one here, and this one here is absolutely gorgeous. And I'll try not to spend too much time drooling over my leaves. And you do get some impression on the back as well, which is always nice. And this one here didn't turn out too well, but not to worry. It's still a pretty page, and you do get a better impression on the back, I think. But this is one I started, is it? No, it's the next one. So they're the single pages that I did on their own, and then the rest of them, as you saw, I used double pages. So one, I put the leaves on this one. Sorry, I just had to wait for my puppy dog. He's having a coughing fit, the poor little boy. So yes, this is the one. Most of these I would have put the leaves on one side, and then I put the top sheet over the top, this sheet over the top, and transferred the images onto both sheets. So I got 2 for 1 deal, which is great. And I get some, the original one is darker than the mirror one, but I don't mind that at all. It gives you lovely subtle leaves on here, as you can see. Get some beautiful ones there, and transferred better on the back. You can see just the outline basically, and this one here is that one. Now, I'm not claiming that this is, you know, just as good as the traditional eco dyeing, but I think you still get some great results, and I don't really have any interest in putting in all that effort to do some eco dyeing, even though the results are wonderful. I'm very happy with the results of these pages, and I think I'm just going to be doing this type of method in the future. And here's where we've got some of that like kids paper, craft paper type thing, and this one's very subtle. You can see here, you can see the leaves on here, and so there's nothing on the back. And that's the copy, and this the original. So this was the base page, so you do get more on this one. And I think I must have put some green, and oh, this is one I did with the chalks. That's right, I added the chalks to it, and the first one wasn't very successful, but there's still some nice impressions on there, and you do get you can see the leaves better on the back, some of these leaves, which is quite amazing. There we go. And then this one here is the top sheet, and you'll see there was hardly, yes, no, this side. I'm sure it's this side. And I'm not sure, no, it's this side. I can see just a couple of leaves. It didn't do much at all with that one. And this one too. You can just barely make out some of the leaves now that it's dry. I made that a very grungy page. And on the other side, you barely see any leaves at all, so that's that one. This one is on that, you know, the kitchen paper that you use to line, the non-grease kitchen paper that you use to line your baking trays. So it's, I don't particularly call this parchment paper or baking paper because it's thinner than the other stuff that's thicker and sturdier. But I love the leaves, so I did them in browns and the black ink, I think I did with that. I absolutely love that. And of course you get it. This is the the right side up. Got to turn it over, silly me. So that's the top side, and this one is the bottom side, or the other way around. I might have mixed them up. This must be the top side, and that was the bottom, because the leaves are much fainter on this sheet. It's very delicate and it's so pretty. And then of course this is the first lot of book pages that I did, and I wasn't very impressed at all. I don't know what I did, but it didn't work out too well. So I turned these are the this is the original papers, and then I tried to do, thought I did gold on the back. There's nothing on those ones, so these ones didn't turn out too well. You can see there you got, oh that's right, this is the original one, and then I went back and I tried to do it in gold, and you do see there is a leaf there and a little bit of gold. And then this one here is another one. These four didn't turn out very well at all, as you can see, but it did make some markings on the page. And then I went back and I tried to do it with gold leaves, and I just used sprayed some gold on there, but with not the greatest results, but you do get some images on there. And then I went and try it again with these ones. I do get some leaves on there, leaves, and just on those ones, and these two as well. This one, I think I painted the leaves with some green chalk or something. I think that's what I did. You would know better than me at this stage. And of course this is the sheet that I put on top when I had those all spread out. And you get some lovely leaves on this one. This is just some brown paper from a brown paper bag. It's shiny on the outside, and it's a matte on the inside. So I've got that one. Put that one aside. And then these are ones that I did. It should have been that way. That I tried out with different techniques, and I can't remember what I did. I think I used some chalks. I rubbed some chalks on there. Is that? No, that's not that one. So these, I think I used the inks on these ones. So this is the top sheet, and I put the plastic over the top. It had the watercolor, not the watercolor, sorry, the ink, and the coffee dye was on there. So I must have sprayed the leaves, and then I just put the mat down over the top of it when I used the rolling pin, and it transferred the color to the back of the sheet. It also came through, you can see on the front here a little bit, but I love those leaves. So they're so pretty. And this is the bottom sheet as well. You can see a bit of that little tiny leaf. Some nice markings, and it transferred to the back as well. And this is another one here. So, and the back. This is another one. I think I was 4 sheets. I did all at once. Those there. And on the back. And oh, that's right. So I was very happy with these ones, but of course I wasn't satisfied to leave it there. So I had to go one more step, and so I got out the chalks, and instead of spraying the leaves with coffee dye and the inks, I decided to paint the leaves this time. So I did the same method, but I just painted the leaves before I put them down on the paper, and this is the result. So, and on the sticks, or the bits of whatever it is, yeah, you know, bits and pieces of, I can't think of the word, it slipped my mind, but it's bits and pieces of fibrous things anyway. I put black on there, and the rest I did in coffee dye and different coloured chalks, and some are orange and black and brown. So that's that, and that's what the back looks like. And you can see the paper's being wrinkled as I rolled it out with the rolling pin. And this is the top sheet, and this is the bottom sheet. So we got more color on there, and look at those leaves, aren't they gorgeous? I absolutely love them. And there's the back. You transfer the color to the back, and the leaves, you can still see the veins in the leaves. And in some of these, it didn't just pick up the main veins, it picked up the secondary veins, the smaller ones. And then I tried out some brown paper, but as you can see, it didn't really do that much. I don't know whether it's because it's a thicker paper or the color, who knows. But that's as far as I went with my experiment. I didn't do any more. I tried to do gold ones on the back, and of course that failed miserably. And this is the last one. So this one here, I absolutely love those colors, and the leaves again, my beautiful gum leaf there, and maple leaf, and that's the other side. So that was, as you can imagine, that was a fun morning to be had by all, or by me and my puppy dog. And I hope that's given you some inspiration, that if you really love the idea of eco dyeing, that you don't have to, and you put off, or you don't want to do it because of all the process that's involved. Well, then, you know, you can, if you like these results, well, then this is what you can achieve too. And there's not much effort in it at all. And these are as I said, these are the lighter ones, and the colors you get is pretty amazing, I think, anyway. So, well, I couldn't finish the video until I showed you my piece de resistance, the one I liked the best, my favorite, and that's these ones. These are the ones I did before, and they didn't turn out too well. Focus. As you can see, they weren't that great, so I didn't want to be deterred by that, so I went ahead and redid them. So that's what this one here, and all I did was I sprayed this background, because it's art paper. It's fairly thick art paper. It's about 110, 120 GSM. So I saturated it more with the water, and then with the coffee dye, and then I used the chalks to paint some of the leaves. Can't really see now, but I just rubbed a little bit. I sprayed these with water and coffee dye, and then I dipped the chalks into water, and then I made a watercolor effect on the back there, and that's what the result is. And I stayed with the fairly neutral colors, like the browns and a black and a grey and a little bit of the orange, because I like that natural effect. And this is the colors that gave me, I should say. And then the stems, I rubbed a bit of the I sprayed them with the coffee dye, and I rubbed a bit of the black chalk over there, the wet black chalk, and that's where you get all these impressions here with that and a bit of the bark off the tree. So that's the first one, and this is the second one. This one didn't have any orange in it, so I just left it all natural, and I absolutely love these. These are my favorite. And the other side turned out quite well as well. This is the ones that I put down and used the rolling pin to roll the sheets out, and this is absolutely gorgeous. I love this. So you can see the veins quite well, and the beautiful bits of bark and sticks, these things, twigs that had leaves on one stage. So that's one side I did, and this is the one, the other side. So that's with one sheet, and you can see here you got some creases in the paper, so that adds extra texture. The great thing about this that I also love is that you don't have to wash your papers out to get rid of the leaves. You just have to use a pair of pair of scissors. I was trying to say scissors and tweezers. A pair of tweezers, or when it dries, you just rub it off. That's so easy. No washing out or any of that messy process. Unfortunately, this was on one page. Unfortunately, when I used the sheets on the other page, I was determined to try these book pages again. And as I showed you before, this is the side that didn't turn out too well. So I did them again. I put them down on, now I can't remember which side I did. But anyway, you can see that they didn't turn out no matter what side I put them down on. I think this was the original, and this is the one I used this time. You can see there is a little bit of marking, and it does give some nice color variation anyway. But yeah, some reason this technique doesn't want to work on these book pages, but it'll work on lots of other different papers as you saw. So that's not a great loss anyway. So if you enjoyed watching this today and it's giving you some ideas, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you in the next video. Have a happy crafty day, everyone. Bye for now.